So I was interested in this one. I was also interested in the one that you showed next, slide 14. Even though it you know, of the ones that are suggesting this kind of almost wiki-driven architecture, right, where everybody kind of has a voice. There's a few proposals that are suggesting kind of nanobots and things like that as a means to actually get there. I like this one just because, you know, I think if you start to take in too much input, and this is, I think, the case for any system, when there's too much variety of inputs, I think that almost leads to a kind of gray goose scenario, or kind of paralysis of what to do. And I think one of the, you know, fantastic things about most living organisms, from our cells up to us, is that we take in a diversity of input, but we have a kind of single output, right? We decide to do something. We decide to walk or move around or eat. And I think, you know, if there's not some mechanism, I think, to filter and to take all of that information and synthesize it and make a single kind of discrete change, I think you would have a kind of failure, or a kind of goose scenario. So, you know, for instance, the one I'm looking at here, the synaptic partitions, I think they just suggest a kind of averaging, that everybody would have a voice in this thing and we get a kind of average scenario. And I think that would just, this 25, I think just as a kind of practical matter, that where there has to be some kind of decision logic beyond averaging. And I think when you start to suggest that this is sort of integrated into a social environment where people are sort of requesting changes and then things have to be voted on, I think there's more of a possibility in that framework that there could be actually decisive action that leads to very kind of particular results. In the same way that, you know, the political system, you know, invites that by not having constant elections, but by having elections somewhat infrequent, that there's a space for action inside of there. So in that sense, I kind of like the idea of extending this photosynth, but I'd be really interested then to how certain decisions get promoted as sort of the right decision. But I think having that framework where the architecture is just automatically adjusting to any input, but there's some kind of decision-making process there that filters out bad input or otherwise tries to synthesize input into a kind of single output, I think is important.